So welcome to the DAISI 2.0 training on the administration section. So during this training, we're essentially just going to go through each of the different sections of the administration portion of DAISI. So each of these numbers corresponds with a different tab underneath the administration tab. And then we'll be stopping periodically to answer any questions you might have because these are pretty discrete topics today. But we'll also have some time for more general questions at the end. So now I'm going to pull up DAISI. And again, I'll be using the demo site today. And I have program administrator access for this site. So that is the kind of access that you'll be seeing today. So if your screen looks a little bit different from mine, you might just have different access. And so we're going to start with the program details page, which you can find by clicking the administration tab and then selecting this first option. And this page is pretty simple. It's read only, and it has your program contact support information, and also the information about your program, such as the region number, provider type, and the name. So if you notice any errors in this first section, you can go ahead and either email me or your regional support staff person. And next, we're going to review the program accounts page. So that you can find by clicking the administration tab and selecting the second option labeled program accounts. And this is where you manage all of the accounts linked to your program. If you'd like to download a list of all of the accounts, you can press the Excel button, and an Excel spreadsheet of the entire list will download to your browser. If you'd like to add an account, you can click the Add button, enter the person's information, select the role you'd like to have, and then select whether or not you'd like to give them the ability to log in, and then press Submit. And just a quick note here, you'll notice that there's a note at the bottom that instructor enter attendance and instructor view only can only be created at the instructor section. So those are the only two kinds of accounts that you cannot add from this page. And a lot of people have been asking me this year about how to modify someone's account. So in order to modify a person's account, you simply just click their name, and then you can either add or remove a role. And this works for instructors too. So for example, if I want to take an instructor who only has the ability to enter attendance, I can also give them the ability to enter data for the entire program, or I can even make them an administrator. And this delete link on the right-hand side, you can use to delete an account. But just note that once you delete an account, all of the information is irretrievable. So use this information. I would use this feature sparingly. A better option, if you'd like to prevent someone from logging in, as I mentioned before, is to simply click their name and switch their status from active to inactive. And that will prevent them from logging in. I do want to note here, however, that works for all account types except for instructors. When you change an instructor account from active to inactive, the user is still able to log in. So in order to prevent an instructor from logging in, you have to go to the instructors page, and I'll just click anyone here, and then change this their site access all the way at the bottom to no access, and then click Submit to save. So the next section under the Administrations tab is the building list. And that, again, you can find by clicking the Administrations tab and then selecting the third option. And the building list is where you manage all of the buildings for your organization. If you have a lot of buildings, you can quickly find the building you're looking for by using the global filter, which essentially works as a search bar, or by using any of the search bars at the top of the columns. If you'd like to add a new building, you can use this Add button here. Type in the information of the building and then press Submit. And you'll notice that there's no delete link here. So once you add a building, you cannot delete it. But if you'd like to prevent it from being an option on the class page, if you'd like to prevent users from assigning classes to a certain building, then you can select Update and then switch it from active to inactive and click, and you have to enter the date, so I'll just select today and then press Submit to save. And so notice I just did that for the satellite campus. And now you'll notice that if I go to the Add Class page, that the satellite campus is no longer an option. One note that I'd like to make here is if a building is being used for a class that is occurring right now, you will not be able to switch it from active to inactive, and you'll get an error message about that. Oh, I see. Someone has asked. We have several old locations that should be inactive. However, there is no address for any of them. Do we have to enter all of those addresses in order to deactivate? Not necessarily. If you have a building that you'd like to switch to inactive, but there's no address, and thus you can't really save the information because it won't let you, I recommend just putting a dummy address for them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a real address, and then you should be able to save it that way. And just a quick note here, when you enter a question into the chat, you should have an option to send it to either me privately or everyone. If you would just go ahead and send it to everyone just so everyone can see your message. Great, so we're going to move on to the next section now, which is given and unscheduled days. So this is the section where you manage the given and unscheduled days for your program. So given and unscheduled days are designed to help you manage days that your class will not be meeting. So there are 3 different types of given days. There are holidays, so you get 13 of these every fiscal year. There are emergency days for when a scheduled class is canceled due to a weather closing or other institutional emergency. And then there are staff development days, which are when the class is canceled to allow the staff to participate in a professional development opportunity. And then there are unscheduled days, which are a little bit different from given days. So given days, all of these 3 types of given days will give a student enrollment hours, but not attendance hours. Unscheduled days give students neither attendance or enrollment hours. And these days are more are for when a scheduled class is eliminated and the class does not meet. Usually the teacher is sick and they're unable to find a substitute, the internet is down, or something to that matter. And so in order to add a scheduled day or a given day, you can click on the Add New tab, just select the date and the reason, and then press Submit. To delete a day, you can just press the Delete tab. And once you add a given or unscheduled day, that should be reflected in the attendance grid. Now you might not get a note at the top of the attendance grid, so I can just go ahead and show you that real quick. So in this regular attendance grid, you'll notice that there aren't any U's or GE's. And normally they won't appear, so it's good to keep a list of these handy somewhere so that you know when to enter the appropriate attendance code. If this date, for example, were an unscheduled day, then you would just type a U instead of a P or other attendance code there. The next section is class exit codes. So this is where you can view and manage the class exit codes for your program. Numbers 1 through 12 and 101 are read-only, so you are not able to change these. But at the bottom, if you have the access to do so, you can add a new exit code by assigning it a number. And this number does have to be 13 through 100 or over 101. And then you can assign it a name, or, 13 through 100 or over 200, because 1 through 12 and 100 through 199 are reserved for system use, so you won't be able to use those. And then the name should be something that explains the nature of the exit, and then you can press Submit to save. And all of your custom exit codes will appear in this section under the Custom Exits header, and if you'd like to delete them, you can select it here and then press the Delete button to delete it. This next section is the NRS Table 7 input, which is where you will track all of the personnel information for your program. And it should reflect the total number of personnel for your program for the entire fiscal year. So it's really important to update this after changes in your program's personnel, especially new hires, in order to ensure that it'll appear correctly on your NRS reports. In order to edit a cell, you just click on it, enter the number, and then you can press enter, or you can just click out of it. And in order to save, just press submit. So the utilities page, kind of unexpectedly, given its name, is where you will modify the custom fields in your program. So again, the custom fields, in case you need a refresher, the custom fields are a page on the instructor's on the instructor and the student pages. So on the instructor pages, they show up all the way at the bottom, right above the site access section. And for students, they show up as one of the pages. And those are all the way at the end, right before the IELCE section. So these are places where you can fill out information that isn't recorded anywhere else on the student or instructor pages. In order to modify them, you can just delete what's already there, or you can just add a new one, and then a new box will appear in those sections that we were just looking at. Can you do an advanced search using custom fields? Yes. Yes, you can. Oh, and before you move on, it's important to note that you have to press submit in order to save your changes to these pages, or else they won't save. So let's say I wanted to do a search for a student custom field. So I would come to the students list search page, and then in the advanced search section, the third option from the bottom is custom fields, and it'll show you the two custom fields that I've recorded in my system, and then I can search for any information that I'm looking for within those fields. And I acknowledge that this particular search feature was not working at the beginning of the year, but it should be working now. All right, I don't see any more questions about the Utilities tab, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up with the class software model section, and then we'll get on to all of the other questions that we didn't get to before. So the last option is the Class Software Model tab, and you can access this page by clicking the Administrations tab and then selecting the last option. And this page, even though it doesn't look like it, is actually read-only. So if you are a program administrator or really any of these different program access program account types, you will not be able to edit this page, but it is good to come and just see what the different class software options are for you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So you can also view this information on the ICCB Adult Education website. So are there any questions about this page? All right, I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the presentation for anyone that doesn't have any questions. So just before we go, these are the additional support options that you have available to you in case you are in need of additional support. You can refer to the ICCB online help guide, which is constantly being updated. You can refer any technical questions or system malfunctions to DAISI support at kate.org. You can refer any general or policy-related questions to me or your regional support staff member.